welcome back to my channel. My name is Mackie. In this video, I'm going to show you my painting process for this little frog buddy desk thing that I made. In order to prep the surface of the clay, I used a e-file, usually used for acrylic nails. It works just the same as any other file. There's a little sandpaper bit at the top of it. It comes with a couple other tips with it, but I just stuck to the sandpaper because it worked pretty well, and I didn't feel it was necessary to go change it up or anything. So as you can see, this is the process of just filing it down. I had a really great time. I thought this was super satisfying to do, and I will definitely be doing more clay projects just to use this e-file because it was so fun. The brand that I used for the clay is actually in the background. It's the Das Stone Clay. I hope I'm saying that right. It's just DAS in the stone color. I found it really easy to work with. Maybe not as easy as polymer clay from what I understand about polymer clay, though I've never personally worked with it. It was pretty hard to render small details and to get things as smooth as I wanted them, hence why I ended up using the e-file. But overall, it was a pretty pleasant medium to work with, and I also made a juice box, which I'm gonna be, I think it's actually, yeah, you can see it in the background, I'm gonna be painting that next. I found filing the clay to be really helpful in making a smooth surface because I wasn't able to get quite that level of smoothness just through sculpting alone. And it was kind of nice to know that that option was there in the sculpting process. It also created a lot of dust, so definitely wear a mask while you're doing this so you don't inhale the little dust particles. The paints I'm using are just general run-of-the-mill, dollar section craft store paints. They got the job done just fine. You can use higher quality acrylic paints if you would like. I didn't find it was necessary for this project because it was kind of just a silly, goofy little buddy that I wanted to make. And I wanted to use this file to get the broader areas a bit smoother than I was able to get them with the e-file. It's also important to dust off your work before you paint, just so you don't get a bunch of little dust particles in your paint, because those dust particles can create a really bumpy surface. The brushes are a mixture of Michaels and whatever other hobby craft store paint brushes that I had. I've had a collection going of art supplies throughout the years, so I really couldn't tell you where a lot of this stuff is from unless it's a recent purchase. So I guess technically speaking, it wasn't really necessary for me to draw out with the white chalk marker or the white chalk pencil what I wanted the design to be. However, I felt it was necessary for me to get an idea before I went in with the paint. Even if I wouldn't be able to see it through the first layer of the paint, it was just nice to map it out for my own head so I could see what I thought looked the best. I'd also love to tell you guys a little bit more about myself. So I'm 24 in my last year of college, getting an undergraduate and psychology degree. I don't love it very much. I used to a lot, but that really changed because my senior year of college, before, a few years ago, I ended up getting sober and dropping out to go to treatment. And now I'm finishing it up finally, and it's taking a while, but I would love to talk about, that part of my life, the recovery part, because that's incredibly important to me, and it's really changed my quality of life more than any other thing that I've done probably my whole life. And it's just impacted everything, and from the way that I see myself to the way I see the world and the way I treat people, and the fact that, I show up on time to things, and, it's been incredible for me. And I would love to share more about my story, what it was like before I got sober, what it was like getting sober, what it was like, in early recovery, and, what it's like now. I'd also love to have some of my friends or even my sponsor come on here and talk about their experiences in recovery, because I just think it's awesome. It's definitely a challenge being so young in AA and in recovery in general. I am so fortunate, though, to be surrounded by a great community of young people that have figured it out and that have stories very similar to my own. And that is just irreplaceable to me. It's given me a life and a group of friends that I never thought I deserved to have, because I didn't used to really relate to people. I just walked around with all these secrets and all this really low self-worth my whole life, and people didn't relate to that. Or at least they said they didn't. Or they would try to be like, no, you're great. And it was like, no, you don't understand. I really hate myself, and I don't know why. And drugs and alcohol were the solution for me, and they really helped me feel like I belonged places, and they helped me feel like I fit in for once in my fucking life. And I think the most profound part of AA is that I no longer feel that way. I don't feel alone, and I never have to feel alone in anything ever again. Now, I sometimes do feel alone, and that's my choice. I can choose to be alone with my pain and my suffering and my feelings and all that stuff. But I never have to be again, because I have a whole room full of people at any given moment, and I have all these numbers in my phone and all these friends that relate to me and understand when I say I'm struggling and that I'm not okay and that, nothing makes sense to me. One of my favorite parts of the Alcoholics Anonymous book is the part where it says, in a personal story, I felt like everybody else was given this instruction manual for life, and God had forgotten to give me mine. And man, when I read that, I just felt so understood, because things that are easy for other people have never been easy for me. Alright, not to give y'all emotional whiplash or anything, but back to the painting. I found this part to be really satisfying and really fun. I really love the small detail work like this. And again, I'm just using that little silicone-tipped brush tool that's usually used for clay sculpting, going in with the black paint, and then I ended up going back in with the white paint to clean up some of those lines, because they ended up a little bit blobbier than I would have liked them to be, because I'm just kind of a neat freak with those little details, which is hilarious because my room is just an absolute disaster. I'm just complex like that. What can I say? If you've liked this video so far, please consider subscribing and liking this video. And additionally, if you have any suggestions for future videos or projects for me to take on, I would love to hear them. I love painting and sculpting and drawing and all that good stuff, and I'd also love to do like a sketchbook tour of my previous art projects and stuff like that, because I think it would be really cool, and I can kind of tell the stories behind where I was at emotionally with each piece, which I find really interesting. So that about wraps everything up. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye.